Yes, it's time for change. So I decided to just do this video because a lot of people are asking me about change, about what should they do next, or how do I do this journey. Whenever there's change or whenever there's something transpiring in your life, of course, there's going to be change and there's going to be decision making. I'm like one of those people who pretty much at the last minute, boom, I make change. I'm just going to bring this over here. Boom, I make change. And sometimes it's hard to make decisions at the last minute, but that's when I'm at my best points, when I'm making a decision at the last minute. Who's that that asked me, what was your decision to move or whatever, XYZ? I've always been returning to Georgia for years, so it doesn't really make a difference at what point I decided to make that move. But sometimes when we have to make moves at the last minute, you got to figure out, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? You cannot be scared to jump in the pot. If you're scared to jump in the pot, it's not going to happen. I listen to a lot of people, regarding, I made a mistake on this. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. You're not going to be perfect. There's going to be hurdles that you're going to have to come over when you get into the end point that you're trying to get to. Trust me, it's not easy, especially starting over. It's not easy starting over. I'll be the first one to talk about the have your plan and how I make my plan. I do the error first. I go, okay, so what could go wrong? If this goes wrong, we're going to do this. If that goes wrong, we're going to do that. Sometimes you don't know if anything is going to go wrong. You don't know if when my coverage is over. We all know what just happened in the BBB bill. I call it the BBB bill. What are you going to do? We have no insurance. The insurance is also rising. The Obamacare, the fees are all going up for that. It's crazy, and you're at your wits end, and in the last minute. You're going, what can I do? What should I do? Think about it quickly and do it. Because if you don't, it's going to pass you right by. It's going to pass you right by. Some people say, when they think about doing something, they start it and they don't finish. We all started things and have not finished. I have students in my classroom now that are returning students who started, it's just like, anything, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, so and so and so. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm like X, Y, Z. And sometimes when you get 2 weeks in, they don't want to do it no more. When you're not micromanaging someone, it's hard when you're not really like on them, and something that's not $20,000. You just want to kind of keep them informed. What you're doing is for the better for you, and that's the same thing when you got a split decision. Boom. Same thing. So this discussion board is just about talking. Discussion board, y'all know me. Discussion board is everything. Discussion board is TikTok. Discussion board is Twitter. Discussion board, wait, not Twitter, X. Discussion board is FaceTime, and that's where we just kind of talk about things at the spur of the moment. I was watching something on I think it was YouTube, and the young lady was like, she wanted to work for this place. She wanted to work for them really bad. She got there and it wasn't what she thought it was going to be. Now, during the process of getting there, it takes training, it takes orientation, and a couple of other things that they do. At what point did she not know she was going to get her hands dirty? So she made, this is no lie, she made a split decision right then and there. She says, I'm quitting. She says she's not going. And I said, you see that decision that she made? She knew exactly what she was going to do as soon as she walked into that facility. And, a lot of people make that same decision. They make that same decision. It's very hard, but a split decision sometimes is the best decision that you made of your life. I've made split decisions based on what I see, based on what I think is going to happen. I'll make a split decision on, I'm going to quit before you even think about it. You ain't going to continue on with me. You see what I'm saying? So when you make that split decision, you got to have that back end of that decision. Because whenever I make a split decision, I go for the good and for the bad. I go, okay, I'm making this split decision. If this happens, I'm going to do this. If that happened, I'm going to do that. That's why I be telling y'all, don't be afraid to make a decision. Even if you make a decision that you want to go to school, don't be afraid to go to school. Don't be afraid to learn something else, because that decision that you made to hit that button and go into the classroom, yeah, set by physician coding, to go into that classroom and learn medical insurance billing, that's your split decision. That's a free program on here. And making a decision like that is hard. It's easier than going to a college and making a decision to take a $27,000 loan out, and then you finish the program and then you don't want to do it no more. That, yeah, I know that sounds like me. You'll see some of my chats. I do things. I set goals. When I finish with that goal, I don't want to do it no more. I'm always setting new goals. I set new goals. Once I do that goal, I'm done. That's a split decision that I make once I'm done with something else. We go through turmoil. We go through all types of things in life. Um, and sometimes it entitles you to make a split decision. We were having a conversation on Twitter, and it was a conversation about one of the guys going to Baltimore or something like that. And my opinion is, you're going to Baltimore, you're going to a place that they really don't like you. So what is the purpose of you going? And you're going to a place where you're going to need double security. I mean, you're going there to prove what? You see what I'm saying? The person that you're robbing with is, I guess, from Baltimore or whatever. That's not where you're from, so you might want to stay in your own neck of the woods. Long story short, I don't know if it was a split decision, but he eventually changed his mind. He ain't going to Baltimore, and that's because who do you know? Who do you know in Baltimore? So that's the reason why, we all kind of wonder, like, okay, and you're doing a what in Baltimore? Why? It's like you going to the neighborhood that don't like you. We clearly know they don't like you. But when he made that split decision to say, he's not going, the first thing I said was, Auntie is so proud of you. And not that it has anything to do with any type of county or anything like that, but these people clearly told you that don't come here. So, when you make a split decision, sometimes it is the right decision that you make. Don't be afraid. Some of you who are going to take that coding exam and you get to question number 25 and you go, I'm picking A. Pick it and leave it. That's your split decision. And guess what? That's probably your right decision. Because when you start going back over that CPC or going over that test, you done took the right answer off and you put the wrong one. You see what I'm saying? That's called procrastination. If you procrastinate on something and then you mess around and change it and it was right, oh, it was wrong, it was right, it's wrong. That's why I told you, when you make a split decision, just make it and keep it moving. If the decision that you made is wrong, it's okay. Nobody is perfect. Nobody's perfect. We've all made plenty of decisions that have not panned out the way we wanted them to. Me, and you. It's nobody's perfect. If I sit here and tell you everything in my life is everything perfect, then I wouldn't be like you, right? All right, then everything is, I want a truck 3 times the size of the one I got. I can't get it. You see what I'm saying? One day we're gonna get that truck. So, no, that wasn't a split decision. I always wanted a bigger truck. I went from a medium to I'm getting bigger. But making the decision, in your life to do what you want to do, it's easy when you go, boom, this is what I'm gonna do. It's hard when you sit there and start thinking about it for years. Yeah, I'm gonna do that tomorrow. Yep, I'm gonna start doing that. If you're gonna do like a YouTube, like a university thing or X, Y, Z, do it. Y'all know when I first started doing YouTube, I still hardly know what I'm doing. Yeah, I say that all the time. I still hardly know what I'm doing. But I made the decision to go ahead and do it. Oh, all right. I'm procrastinating on the Twitch thing. They want me to mess around with the Twitch thing. I don't know nothing about Twitch, and I can't be on Twitch all day because I do have to go to work. And you have to be on there, what, for 500 hours for 30 days? I don't know. But I do know a few people who are doing the education classes, and they were like, boom, I'm just going to do it. And then they just did it. And I love it. I think and their courses, they're teaching medical insurance billing and a couple of other things, and they're on constantly on Twitch all day. I don't know if I can do the all day thing, but I thought about doing something like that because that's how we did it in the course. That's how we did it, in the physical classroom. But like I said, they made split decisions to decide. they were going to go on Twitch, and I think that's a good idea. I really do. Um, you want to ask yourself, can you make a choice? Will you make a choice in what you want to do? I have notes right here. You guys know I always have notes sometimes. Sometimes I memorize, sometimes I don't. You want to think about, do I want to do my own business? What am I good at? That's what you want to say. What do you have passion about? And you just have to make your skit and do it. You guys know me. I have papers everywhere. I write down everything. I got 2 minutes to think about this. Some people are best when they're on the edge, when they get ready to tip over, or when somebody's backing you into a corner, or if I got to hand in a report 15 minutes before the deadline, that's when I'm about to be my best. Boom. If I got to, show something XYZ and I'm 5 minutes in, boom, that's my 2 minutes right there. Other people have it all planned out. Me, I sometimes I got to do it right then and there, or I'm just going to have like this skit and I'm going to change it around. I'm going to change it around. But in that 2 minute frame, boom, I know what I'm getting ready to do. I talked about I can't think of the girl's name, but she made a decision to sleep in a car or something XYZ, and then everybody started talking about it, and then it was, oh, I was sleeping in the car because I wanted to. I have a home. So you can why you be going on YouTube talking about you sleep in the car and you was a singer and the Vogue thing and this and that thing. I was like, well, maybe she just wants us to explore or XYZ. I ain't gonna lie, I was on her side. But when you make that split decision, she got that 2 minutes left, and then she was like, "No, I wasn't really sleeping in my car." So why you tell it? Why you was on YouTube and that's what you said? And that split 2 minutes when they were coming at her, coming at her, coming at her. It was I was sleeping in the car by choice. I'm not really homeless. I hope she wasn't, because that was those were my singers back in the days. But again, making that move in that last minute 2 seconds, and you're sitting there going, "What am I going to do? What is your next step?" We all thought that when we were looking at the Diddy thing, and then they let him off on the racketeering. We all were thinking, well, what is their next step? They got 2 minutes to figure out what their next step is. They had about 2 hours, and for the judge to put up in the air, that he was violent, and we could clearly see that Diddy was violent. Okay, that was their attorney didn't even have to mention that, but they needed to have thought of something in that quick 2 minute time frame. Boom. All right, say he crazy. She got mental problems. Something wrong with her. But obviously, he got mental problems. Something wrong with her. I did not hear that come up one time. One time in that courtroom. When they had that 2 minute window, when the judge said, you said yourself that he's violent, even though we can clearly see, but once it goes on paper and documented, that's what he going by. Diddy's attorney had 2 minutes. Boom. Okay, he got a mental problem. We addressed that. We said he was violent because he got a mental problem. That's the first thing I would have said. That's the first thing I would have said. Nobody wants him to get out and hurt anybody, but we can clearly see in a lot of videos that something is wrong with him. His attorney had 2 minutes to come up with something, and that's the part that I didn't get. They get millions of dollars, and they couldn't come up with something to counteract that judge as far as him saying how violent Diddy was. Now, we ain't going to talk about who's on Diddy's side and who's not on Diddy's side. Everybody deserves a chance. And again, I can clearly see that Diddy got a couple of mental issues. Was I happy for the children? Yes, they had 2 minutes to go out there and celebrate and then come back in there and sit and find out their father wasn't coming home. But at least he's not going to serve 40, 50 years in jail. And what happened? They had 2 minutes to go out there and party. Okay? You got 2 minutes to make a decision whether you're going to take a job. You got 2 minutes to make a decision whether you're going to leave town. You got 2 minutes to make a decision whether you're going to change your life. What are you going to do? Y'all send me a message. What do y'all feel when something like that takes place or something like that comes to par to you? What if you backed up against a wall and it's like, what am I going to do? And some people welcome stuff like that, not intentionally as far as being physical or harming somebody or something like that. Because if you do come up into a situation like that, you got 2 minutes, you could think. I mean, many years ago, my son was about He wasn't even 1 years old, and I was in North Carolina dropping my daughter off, and we were waiting for the cab, and I caught myself walking to the gate to get to the cab, like a field where the school was. There was a wolf or something heading straight for me and my son, and I'm holding him, and I'm going, I wish his father was right here picking us up right now. But unfortunately, at that time, he wasn't. And I had to take an Uber. Well, it wasn't Uber back then. I had to take a cab. And I had less than 2 minutes. What am I going to do? God, please protect us from this wolf. The second I said that, the cab was right there. I dived in that cab. You see what I'm saying? When I say, what are you going to do in 2 minutes? What is your next step? Because y'all know I go that route. When I do get to that cliff, Lord, you have to pull me back. Something ain't right. And you know what he did? He pulled me right back. And y'all know it's Sunday, so y'all know I haven't done a Sunday prayer today. But thank you, Lord, for blessing us the way you have. I haven't done it because I got a short up there, and if I pull that short down, it's going to rescind. So I have not done it yet. But you guys know, you know what I'm saying. When you get to that 2 minute mark, and especially when you don't know what to do in that 2 minute mark, y'all know where you're gonna go. You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes you're gonna make a wrong decision. But you talk about instant reflex. And so many things happened. What day was that? 4th of July was Friday. So many things happened Friday. So many people got killed. I mean, if you look at the statistic and see what in the world happened across the world, I thought it was just crazy. People died on a boat. Boats blew up. Uh, Fireworks blew up in people's hands. The children are missing. Texas has got a terrible storm out there. They're still looking for children. What are they going to do in that 2 minutes? When that water started rising and it started raining out there, what are they going to do in that 2 minutes? In 2 minutes, listen, 2 minutes is a long time to actually think of what you're going to do. But when you don't have a choice in the world, you're going to have to take that 2 minutes to the car and make that decision. What are you going to do? If you get into a bind and you got 2 minutes left to think about it, what are you going to do? It's almost like Mission Impossible when, I can't think of his name, but he starts jumping off a cliff. What is he going to do? And them bombs get ready to go. What are you going to do? You're going to try to put it out? Think about what are you going to do in your 2 minutes. Think about what are you going to do in your 2 minutes. Because Congress has passed the BBB bill, a lot of things are going to change. Are you going to take a full time position and still think about the business that you want to do? It's hard. It's hard to do that. I met so many people here in Georgia who are doing their own business, and the confusion with them is I'm afraid to do the business at 100 because I still have to go to work. But if you're giving him 100 of your time, you will never be able to complete your own business. You won't be able to do it. And that's a deadlock. That's a hard lock. And I'm telling you right now, it not only costs a lot of money to do your own business, you got to put that time in it, and you're going to have to sacrifice. And remember what I told you, nobody knows your story. Only you know your story. I don't want to hear nobody else's story. I don't want to hear how you did this. I don't want to hear how you did. I don't want to hear it. If you got an easy way to do something, then do it. If you do it riding on somebody else, okay, you did it riding. Okay, I had this over here. You're doing it riding on somebody else's. That's different than you grinding and getting it yourself. So, for y'all who definitely, somebody sent me an email in regards to, she said she wanted to go to school, but she wasn't sure if she was actually going to finish, or she wasn't sure if she was going to have time, to do the work. I told her to take 2 minutes and figure out if it's worth you going to school, spending maybe an hour a day or 2 hours a day. Because you guys know, even for the medical insurance billing, we spend an hour. The medical insurance billing course is like 15 hours. Um, Tell yourself, can you do it? In a 2 minute time frame, what can you do in 2 minutes? What kind of decisions can you make in 2 minutes? Can you make a decision that It's going to change your life. Can you make a decision that's going to take you to the next level? How hard is that? Very, very hard. But if you're not thinking about that next decision, how are you going to make it? How are you going to make it? If you're not saying to yourself, well, if I do this, I'm not going to be able to do that. If you combine them both and give a 40-60, you might be able to do it. If you combine the two of them and do an 80-20, you might be able to do it. You got to fit it in. You have to fit it in. You guys know when we do classwork. It's kind of different when I'm in a classroom and we'll have like that timeout time where we're talking about stuff and we're talking about what type of thing are we going to do to get money? Are we going to have like a hot dog thing? Or are we going to have something like that? This is kind of like that. Then we talk about parents. We talk about incest. We talk about all kinds of things. So how we are incorporating that into YouTube is having discussion board. So when you guys see that thumbnail and it says discussion board, that's what we're talking about. And this discussion board again is about a 2 minute track and what steps are you going to make? What steps are you going to make in 2 minutes? Can you make a decision of how you're going to change your life in 2 minutes? Or are you going to go, well, let me just let this happen. And if it does, I'll think about it after that. No, you got to make a decision as to what your plan is if this happens. What your plan is if that happens. Who was that talking about? I think the girl. I don't know where she was working at. Oh, she was working at the post office. This is another story like that. She's working at the post office. Then she decided to quit the post office and just leave everything. She's in the car talking about this because she's saying she's sick and tired of this. She's XYZ. But it didn't. I didn't look at the whole thing where it was said that she was in the car. But she had so much stuff in the car. She was sitting in the car just so I knew she was, living in the car. And when people say they live in the car, I don't know if they're living in the car. And what do you do when you live in the car? You take baths, at showers, and you hang out around. Then you go back live in the car. Well, I guess that was the scenario that she was saying, and she was saying she didn't know how to make that decision whether she was going to quit her job. If you're sitting in the car and all of your clothes is in the car, and you make that decision to quit, you have to know what your next move is in the next 2 minutes to figure out how are you going to eat. If you're sleeping in the car, how are you going to eat? How are you going to eat if you don't have this job? You see what I'm saying? So if you quit that job, have another job or have another way that you're going to get some money. Have another way that you're going to get some money. Did you guys see the UPS worker when I don't know, they said something to him. And I mean, it was like 2 minutes after they said something to him, he started throwing things at the UPS place. He quit and he started throwing things. Okay. Now, I don't know if he had a baby. I don't know if he has a wife. But that quick 2 minutes for him was to throw everything away. Because now what you did was there go your food, there go your bread and butter, the baby looking for food, the mother's looking for the rent. Not saying everything is on him, but that 2 minute decision that he made was a decision that he made for the rest of his life. So that's what I'm saying. Like, when the girl got hired at the post office, and when you get hired at the post office, it's not like, okay, we hire you and start working. It is a full process. It's a full process. You're getting federal check, you're getting fingerprints, you got to do orientation, then you do a whole lot of other stuff. You do academy, you do test, do everything. So for her to be like, okay, I'm not doing this no more. This is not my worth. What I'm saying? I can't imagine what they had her doing. And, of course, you working at the post office, there's so much stuff that they're going to do around there. Maybe they ain't tell her whatever it was. But to me, she looked like she was about 21 years old. I mean, I ain't seeing that wrong with the post office. Probably wasn't for her because the post office is a blue collar job, mostly a blue collar job. But there are white collar positions. So, and I don't know why I use blue collar and white collar. That's like an old phrase. I don't know what you call it. Inside, there are office jobs there, but that 2 minute decision that she made. It was a 2 minute decision because she was there. Uh, Even though you're not supposed to take pictures and all that kind of stuff in the post office, you work there. You already broke the rules right there. She did take pictures of what was around it, and all I saw was two boxes on the floor. I didn't see anything that would give us the impression of they made her do some kind of hard labor. So in that 2 minutes, boom, she they it was so funny. They showed the resignation paper. She said they asked her, "Did you want to fill it out right now, or do you want to wait till you go online and fill it out?" She said, "No, she's gonna fill it out right now." So that 2 minute decision that she made, even though when you are young like that and you decide that you're going to work for the post office, you're young and vibrant like that. They gonna you're gonna do some work. Okay, you're gonna do something, no matter what it is, depending on what area you're going to work in. But if you can make a 2 minute split decision like that, then you know where you going after that. You see, so my point in the 2 minute decision is make sure that you are able to cover that 2 minutes and know what's going to come behind that 2 minutes. If she didn't know what was going to come behind that 2 minutes, I'm pretty sure she would not have quit. I'm pretty sure maybe she had savings, maybe she had another job that she's going to get. She wasn't there long enough for anybody to give her a reference. It just was time, time to go. So, when you're talking about the 2 minute window time frame, make the right decision. Make the right decision in your 2 minutes. If you don't make the right decision in your 2 minutes, you're going to pay a consequence for that. And how you can make the right decision in your 2 minutes, think of what happened before that 2 minutes arrived. Think about what's going on before that 2 minutes arrived, because that's going to help you make that 2 minute decision. You do this. This is the 2 minutes right here. And this is the decision that you got to make right here. And this is the other 2 minutes behind. So you telling yourself, so what happened then versus what's getting ready to happen now? If it fails, now what? If you already sleeping in the car now and you got a 2 minute decision to make after that, you still going to be sleeping in the car. You see, I'm just using that as an example. You see what I'm saying? If you already broke, and you're making a decision that's going to make you broker, it doesn't make a difference because you still going to have to climb that ladder to get to where you need to go. You see what I'm saying? So she took a job that she just started. It ain't make or break her because she just started. You see what I'm saying? If you're on a job for 20 years and you got a 20 minute, if you got a 2 minute window to make, you better darn well think about that first. Because there goes your benefits. There goes you starting all over. There goes you got to go to a company and learn all this other stuff again. And then you know what's going to happen when you get to that point? You ain't going to want to do it no more. You're not going to want to do it no more. If you as a career person make that 2 minute decision and you think you're going to go back and you're going to start working again and doing the same thing, it ain't going to happen. You ain't going to want to do it no more. You're going to be tired of it. You're going to be tired of giving them 100% and putting all of your stuff on the side. You're going to be tired of working hard for them when you can work hard for yourself. That's how you end up making your own business. When you decide to make that 2 minute, boom, this is what I'm going to do. That's your next step. That's your next step. With all of what's going on with it, I'm already 28 minutes in. This is only supposed to be 30 minutes. With all this going on with the insurance, with the Medicaid, the Section 8, the hospitals are going to be closing. I mean, there was a hospital on there. I mean, they made a 2 minute decision. Boom, we closing the hospital. This was like not even an hour after the bill was passed. The hospital made a decision. Boom, right then and there to close the hospital. They know what's going to happen. They already knew they was going to lose money. If we stay open one more minute, we lose money. We take one more Medicaid patient, we done. Let me tell you something. I've never seen nothing like that before in my life. Keep it with the news, y'all. Keep it with CNN. I don't even watch Fox, but I've been watching Fox. They have different things on Fox. I watch Fox too. Different type of political channels and stuff like that. Y'all kind of keep up with what's going on with the changes. Y'all that's in my class, y'all keep up with the changes that's going on. Watch how many hospitals start closing. You want to go to school, you better make a split decision. Make a split decision. School is something that you do to get yourself to the next level. No, I don't expect you to take thousands of student loans. You guys can join my medical insurance billing and coding course for free. Make sure y'all do that. That's not a split decision. All right. Y'all see all the videos I got out there. But this 2 minutes and that next step is the next 2 minutes of the rest of your life. And that hospital that closed, boom, right after that bill passed, there'll be much more to come. And if y'all didn't know that they raised Obamacare fees, call the 1-800 number and find out. Monday coming in, it's going to change. So if none of y'all ain't got insurance, they're going to take all of your Medicare off. You see how much Obamacare is. Obamacare ain't $2 a month. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Okay. And trust me, I know from word of mouth of physically talking to one of them. Okay. Obamacare is not cheap. So I think that's going to be the next, that's going to be the next chat. Obamacare is not cheap. You don't want Medicaid? Look, I'm writing it down right here. Okay. You got a certain amount of time to get it. Okay. They're going to raise it. I'm talking about almost $400 a month for Obamacare. Now, how is these people going to be able to afford that? And they're already on Medicaid. It just makes no sense to me. That crazy bill, even though we know it wasn't a 2-minute decision for them, but it's going to be a 2-minute decision when you get ready to walk into that hospital or not walk into that hospital or just walk around sick. The hospital can't turn you away. They cannot turn you away. They have to see the patient. I don't care if they put you on a sliding scale. I don't care if they put you on a Medicaid sliding scale. The hospital has to see you. If you have to go to the doctor, don't go to urgent care. Go to the hospital. Urgent care can turn you away. Some of them urgent cares are private practices. A hospital, they can't turn you away. Okay, go to a community hospital, they can't turn you away. And that's one of the reasons why 2-minute decision, they may close because of those decisions. So what is your reaction to that, the BBB bill? Send me a message. Okay, send me a message to that reaction. How many of y'all are thinking of doing your own business? How many? What is the time frame for change? What is the time frame for change? I say 2 minutes. If somebody asks you want to open up your own business and say, what are you going to say? Especially if you've already been thinking that for a minute. What are you going to say? Yes or no? Yes or no? You got 2 minutes to make change. What are you going to say? What would you change in 2 minutes about what you're doing on your daily day? What would you change? What would you change? I probably would work harder at working the business. I probably work a little harder. But being that I have to go in and work, I can't work that much harder. But if I had something to change in 2 minutes, I would definitely work a little bit more harder in the marketing field on the outside. I would definitely do a lot more of that. What would you do and change in 2 minutes? What would you change in 2 minutes? What would be your next steps? What you would do to make change in your life? What would you do? Send me a message. Let me know. And again, I'm going to drop that video out there on the Obamacare. I don't know if they'll let me do it or whatever, but I'm going to go ahead and drop it out there anyway. But anyway, if you're getting that Obamacare, you better get it right now. 2 minutes. At 12:01, it's going up. Okay? So again, think about it. What would you do in 2 minutes? You got 2 minutes to make your next step. What would you do? If what would you do? You had a choice to go out there and swim in a lake. What would you do? And the lake is like 20 feet deep. And everybody's jumping in there. Would you jump in? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't care if 1,000 out there. I'm not jumping in. Okay, so this is a quickie. We're going to let this go. And don't forget, tomorrow, you guys got that chat on medical insurance billing. We're going to end stream. I might do that video, but if you guys are watching this again, be careful of that Obamacare. It's expensive.